An Indiana law aimed at protecting your children and their lungs is not doing what advocates intended. WRTV Investigates found most Indiana schools are still not testing for a cancer-causing gas. This despite a 2019 law aimed at improving testing among schools. We're talking about radon. It's a naturally occurring gas that comes from decaying uranium. It can seep into schools and homes from surrounding soil. It's the #1 cause of lung cancer among non-smokers, killing an estimated 600 people a year in Indiana and roughly 20,000 people across the country. WRTV Investigates Kara Kenny's investigation prompted that 2019 law, but some say it didn't do enough to save lives. Kara joins us now with the new effort underway to improve testing.
The 2019 law requires the State Department of Health to distribute radon testing recommendations to schools every 3 years. But we found some schools didn't even receive this indoor air quality manual. Plus, the radon testing language is back here in this paragraph. As a working mom, Tanisha Bibbs has a lot to think about, including radon.
When I did buy my house, I had a radon test done. It did get me to thinking about radon levels just everywhere.
Tanisha's son attends the Ben Davis 9th grade center in Wayne Township.
And kids spend a lot of time in school.
They do, especially my son. He's a basketball player. He's there before school and after school a long time.
WRTV Investigates surveyed more than a dozen school districts in central Indiana this spring and found most have not tested for radon in the last decade. Indiana does not require schools to test. Wayne Township told us, "We haven't tested our school buildings for radon to date, and we don't have any plans to do so."
What is your reaction to hearing that they don't test for radon?
I'm pretty surprised. They use the tax dollars in Wayne Township for so many programs and so much funding, and they're not even concerned about something that could be detrimental to the kids.
Wayne Township told us they did receive this air quality manual the state emailed to schools in 2019. It's a bit confusing, but buried on page 14 in a paragraph about retesting, it says the EPA recommends schools test at least once every 5 years. Tiffany Nichols with the American Lung Association of Indiana says this is not what advocates intended when they pushed for the 2019 radon law.
Unfortunately, it didn't go far enough. We would have liked to see that the law mandated schools to do testing every year or at least every 5 years, with the Department of Health keeping some type of database of that testing and those results.
The state does not track which schools test for radon, and schools do not have to report their results to the state.
Is the state of Indiana doing enough about radon?
I don't believe so. Radon is the second leading cause of lung cancer. In fact, it kills about 21,000 people annually.
We uncovered large districts with thousands of students have not tested in the last 10 years, like IPS, Perry Township, Center Grove, Beech Grove, Martinsville, and Noblesville. And some of the districts that have tested have only done a few buildings, like Carmel Clay. They tested in 2021, but only at Smoky Row Elementary. The district told us, "We simply have not had any radon issues."
Unfortunately, many people don't know until some type of lung ailment has presented itself.
And Noblesville told us they don't test because it's not required, and we do not have any basements in our facilities.
We find radon in houses, buildings with slabs, crawl spaces, basements. It doesn't matter because it comes in through cracks in your foundation, through pipe penetrations, and it gets trapped inside buildings.
Deanna French works for MicroAir, a testing company hired by Hamilton Southeastern Schools. We followed along as she and HSC's air quality coordinator, Bob Rice, picked up radon tests they'd placed throughout Cumberland Road Elementary School. HSC is one of the few districts in the state that tests every school on a 5-year rotating cycle.
Should everybody be doing this?
I think every school should be looking into all kinds of safety for their students. If you love your students, love your staff, make sure they have a safe environment, get the air tested.
The EPA recommends schools take action when the radon level hits 4 picocuries per liter or above. HSC got the results back that Cumberland Road Elementary's radon is well within acceptable levels.
How easy or difficult would it be if the state said, we need you to send your results to us?
Just a simple spreadsheet that you can email. The tracking doesn't take that long.
HSE spends about $3,000 a year on radon testing.
We find that's a good use of taxpayer dollars to certify that our air is good for our staff.
This EPA map shows much of central Indiana is in a hot zone for radon, meaning the gas is widespread throughout the soil and buildings in our state.
When you buy a house, they do look at radon in homes in Indiana. Why are we not looking at the quality of air in our school buildings?
State Senator Shelley Yoder filed this resolution this past session that would have required the State Department of Health to answer questions from lawmakers about how it's implementing the 2019 law, including which schools have tested. But her efforts failed to move forward.
I'm going to try in 2023 to get some enthusiasm around this resolution and have the Department of Health come and inform us what has gone on and what we need to do to continue protecting our children.
Parents like Tanisha Bibbs hope radon gets higher up on schools' radar.
They have so many kids that they're responsible for. It should be a priority.
You can usually get a radon test like this one for free by contacting your local health department. And if there's a problem, it can often be resolved by adjusting your ventilation system at your home, school, or work. Working for you, Kara Kenny, WRTV.
And WRTV Investigates reached out to the Indiana Department of Health to find out why some school districts did not receive the manual. They responded saying, quote, the Indiana Department of Health is currently conducting a survey of all school districts to gather information on who their indoor air quality coordinator is, along with the name of anyone else who should receive the manual. We are also updating the manual, which will be distributed prior to the July deadline, end quote. Another piece of legislation also failed this past session. House Bill 1201 would have required schools to test for radon in the lowest level of each school building by 2025 and then report the results to the state. The bill also would have required the state to create a database with the test results. However, the bill failed to get a hearing.